Excellent. Screen is visible, I hope. Kathy can.
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, so we'll go over the four hands that were pre-packaged as lesson hands this afternoon. The topic for this lecture was going to be roughing cards in dummy, gaining a trick that way, and the little tricks that help out with that. Um, so we'll just go on to the first hand. Again, if there are any other hands that any of you would like to get um, advice on or consultation on, I'm happy to go over those afterwards. But for right now, let's go on with these ones. All right, the first lesson hand was board number 2. And we start with the east is the dealer, and it should go pass. And west has a pretty normal one heart opening. So north's first instinct is like, oh, I've got a decent hand and I've got 5 spades. Um, but it's too good for a simple one level overcall. In high card, it's about 18, it's 18 points. I don't like the Jack of Hearts very much, but I've got 2 doubletons as well, so I'll call it a good 18. That's the point where you make what's called the power double. It's the double that you're going to start out with any hand with X number of points, and usually that's 18. X or more points, you start with a double, and then you start describing your hand after that. But you have to start with a double. If you bid a spade on this hand, partner might very well pass with hands that are good for 4 spades. So let's start with a double with the north hand. This hand you might survive if you overcalled 1 spade. I'll go with that in a sec. One heart double. East does have 3 card heart support, but it's not really enough to bid 2 hearts. So they should say pass. South doesn't have 4 spades, doesn't have a stopper for no trump. They should be comfortable just bidding their longest suit here. It's a nice 7 points. It's better than 0, but you're not promising anything when you bid 2 clubs. 2 clubs, that should shut West out. They're bidding our long suit. Now North completes the action by bidding 2 spades. So by doubling and then bidding a new suit over a simple response, that says I'm stronger than a simple overcall. I've got 5 or more spades, but I've got 18 or more points. It's not 100% forcing but it's very encouraging. And on this hand, North has shown 18 points, South has 7, and they've got the King Queen of Spades. Those are really big cards. They'll fill in partner's suit. So I think this is good enough to bid 4 spades. That's what I recommend the auction should be. Um, the other auction that might happen is if North chose 1 spade instead. Again, I still think East should pass. South should definitely raise that to 2, and now North can go to 4 spades. That's the other auction. I think the first one is a better one, but either one will get you to 4 spades by North. So North is playing 4 spades. Opening lead, we try to lead partner's suit whenever we can. Whatever, unless there's a really good reason not to. So if we're going to lead a heart, we haven't raised the suit. So we don't want our partner to think we have only 2 hearts. We start with a low card from 3 in partner's suit. The mud leads, middle up down, that's if you're leading an unbid suit, not partner's suit. So in partner's suit, we lead top from 3 if we've raised it. We lead low from 3 if we haven't raised it. We haven't raised this, so let's lead the 2 of hearts. And so small West should play the Queen of Hearts. And let's try the Ace of Hearts next. So West should know by East carding, they went the 2 and then the 4, that North is the one who is out of hearts. But there's nothing really better to do. A diamond lead might be right, but let's have them play the King of Hearts. if North was paying attention, they also saw East go up the line in hearts. So it's sort of assessing the quality of your opponents. But if you trust East not to have led low from a doubleton heart, then it'll be safe to rough this with the two of spades. The reason why you're not roughing higher is you want to look at the whole hand. And the whole hand, our plan is going, I'll get to this in a sec, but our plan is going to be we're going to rough the diamond losers, the jack and seven of diamonds, with high spades. So we want to keep as many high spades in the north hand as we can. We're going to maybe need all of them to draw trumps. So we need to rough with the two here, because if we rough with the nine, and then we're going to rough a couple of diamonds with the king, queen of spades, we might run out of high spades, even though we've got everything from the ace down to the nine. You've gauged East correctly. So we rough this. Now, on all four of these hands, there's the same dilemma. Because when dummy is short in a suit, the hand that's shorter in trumps is shorter in a side suit than the declaring hand, there's going to be a long suit in dummy. So it's always the are we going to try to rough the losers in dummy, or are we going to try and set up dummy's side suit? In this case, it wouldn't be it's worth considering trying to set up the club suit instead of roughing the diamonds. The reason on this hand that you don't want to are twofold. The trump entries are the only entries to dummy after the clubs are gone. If trumps are 4-1, after you've set up clubs, you might not be able to draw trumps and run the clubs because they'll still have a club left. And the other reason is you've got all these high trumps. It's going to be safe to rough the diamonds with high trumps. So that's always the first thing you're going to be considering on all four of these lesson hands. Can we try and set up dummies long suit, or should we try and rough uh, our long suit, declarer's long suit with dummies shortness? Uh, this case, and we're going to try and rough away the diamond losers instead of trying to set up the clubs. So ace of clubs, or sorry, ace of diamonds, king of diamonds. Hope the queen drops, but it doesn't. Now you want to make sure the four of spades doesn't get overruffed. We've got all the high trumps in the north hand, so we can afford to rough with high trumps in the south hand here. It's not always the case. Sometimes you have to hope that the suit breaks 4-3, but here you can. So we play the king of spades. Now we want to get back to our hand. We can play one round of trumps here because we're only going to rough one more diamond. And now we rough another one. And now we can cross back. And finally, we can go after trumps. And we would have been okay even if East had four spades. We would still be okay. We've got the 10 of spades. So that's how you make four spades on this one. If you went after clubs, you'll actually be okay on this hand. Sorry, let me just go all the way back. Okay. So we've roughed the third round of hearts with the two of spades. If you went out of club after clubs, you'd have to do this first. And fortunately on this hand, the jack pops up. So after they win the king of clubs, you would have survived. You have to make sure you draw trumps ending in dummy, but you'd be okay. So there were a couple of ways to make four spades here. Roughing diamonds, you would have still been okay if trumps were 4-1. This line doesn't work if trumps are 4-1. So on this line, you can now run the 10-9 of clubs, and you can make four spades that way. But the better line, the line that requires least from the opponents, is to go after diamonds, roughing losers in dummy. this is always going to be a conflict between setting up dummy suit or roughing with dummies trumps. The one thing that you don't want to do is go after trumps too quickly. If you're going to pick when those are can be needed either to rough cards or as entries to side suits. But though you want to delay drawing trumps on many hands before you do whatever you want to do. Um, Always try and make a plan before you go after trumps. Drawing trumps is a very good idea, but there are plenty of hands where you don't need to want to do that. This is one of them. All right. So that was the first one. That was North's hand. All right. So we're gonna go on to board four. Sorry, guys. I will post the lesson PDF at the end of this lesson. All right. So board four. West is the dealer. Not quite enough not enough clubs, not enough points. They say pass. North has an ugly suit, but it's still a one heart. Um, this isn't a two diamond overcall. You want to have a way better suit and a couple of more points for that. If they did overcall two diamonds, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference with the auction. I'll make them pass and I'll see what would happen after a two diamond overcall. Um, South bids one spade. Still keep it low for the moment. West might bid two clubs here, but probably should pass with flat distribution. Um, North bids two clubs, still pass. So South has 9 points, a singleton and a doubleton. They are in partner suits. But the intermediate cards in spades, the Jack 10 9 of spades, means that spades will play all right, even opposite a singleton or small singleton or void. Given that, and given that you have a seventh spade, the Jack of diamonds is supporting the ace. I think this comes enough that it's too strong to just bid two spades. You don't really need a fit from partner to make four spades on certain hands, but you don't have enough to guarantee that four spades is the right contract by yourself. So if it's between two spades and four spades, the answer is three spades. Second round jumps by the responder, whether it's in the original suit or one of partner's suits, those are invitational. We're not going to go into fourth suit forcing on this lecture, but you have different methods of handling game forcing hands. So three spades says, go on. I've got a good spade suit. I'm okay. Please go on to four spades or three no trump if you've got maximum points, and consider the spade fit as well. So North only has 13 points, which is pretty minimum opening bid. But it's similar to hand too. The ace queen of spades are huge cards. Those are going to fill in partners' cards. And they're aces and king on the outside, the ace of clubs and king of hearts, instead of something like queen, jack, 10 of hearts, and king, jack of clubs. Same high card, but they're worse for taking tricks with. So given all of that, it's somewhat close, but I think the fact that I've got two honors in the suit that partner said they were willing to play opposite a void, that's enough for me to bid four spades. I still have a solid one heart opener. So I think that's the best auction to get to four spades. I can see auctions where it might have stopped slower than that, but I think getting to four spades is right. Um, so that's the unopposed auction. I'll just quickly go through what happens if they competed. So first off, if West competed with two clubs, little bit of a light overcall, certainly, but you really would like to have a club lead if North is going to end up in the declare. Two clubs, North says pass, pass, and for the same reasoning, South bids three spades, and for the same reasoning, four spades. That's what I think should happen if West overcalled two clubs. If East overcalled two diamonds, this one I really disagree with. South bids two spades the first time, that's like 10 or more points with at least five spades. Pass, ooh, three clubs, pass, three spades. They come up with the same thing. This is the way they would still describe an invitational hand with spades. So whether East bid, whether West bid, or whether neither of them bid, South is going to be able to describe an invitational hand with spades, and North will be able to bid for spades. We'll say it was an unopposed auction. I'm not going to redo it again, but either way, South is playing spades. King of clubs led. Um, let's look at our losers. We've got two heart losers. The ace of hearts might be onside, but we don't know that. And we've got no club losers. Good. We've got two diamond losers. So if we're planning on two heart losers, we've got two hearts and two diamonds to lose. Uh, first one, well, can we set up the hearts as tricks? Well, the king of clubs lead took care of the ace. The only entries aside from in hearts are in spades, so we've got that as a problem. We also we don't have an entry to get to the long hearts, so it's probably not going to work out to try to set up the hearts for pitches. And the other thing is that yeah, and we know we're going to have to give up one diamond. Um, so let's do that. We know we're going to have to give up one diamond before we can rough a diamond in dummy. So we don't want to touch trumps at all. So we can't establish the hearts. The other option is to rough a diamond in dummy. We're going to have to give up one diamond, so we can't even draw one round of trumps because the opponents might be able to draw a second round of trumps for us, and then we don't have the ability to rough diamonds anymore. So plan the play at trick one. Okay, we worked out we're gonna rough diamonds instead of going after hearts. Now we work out we can't touch trumps if we're gonna rough diamonds. So we go after diamonds right away. It's good technique. It doesn't matter too much on this hand, but if you're gonna give up a trick and there's no real danger of them roughing, it's a nice technique to duck the first round, so that if we're in dummy, we can now play a diamond to the ace the next round. So eight of diamonds, let's play low and they win the 10. And let's say they can sort of see you're trying to rough diamonds and they find the trump shift. Well, now we win in dummy. We can play a diamond to the ace. That was almost certainly safe. And now we can rough that. Great. Now we can get finally, we've gotten rid of our second diamond loser. We've got all these high trumps, so we can rough high safely here, just in case something weird's going on there. And now we draw trumps. And now we can play a heart towards the king. If West had the ace, we could get out for one heart loser. But that's that one. So you lose two hearts, and then you've got your four trumps. So the takeaways on this one were you had to recognize that again, dummy didn't have you didn't have the ability to set up a dummy suit and get there, unless you got really lucky with there's some layouts where you could set up the tricks, but it's a lot easier to get rid of one of the diamond losers by roughing it in dummy. Um, that was that. The only other point that I might make on defense is after the trick one. Sorry, let me get all the way back. So on the king of clubs lead with the ace, East played their lowest card because they don't have a doubleton. West should probably be able to work out that East either has one or three clubs, but they don't have two. That's why it would be okay to have West trying to shift to a trump because they can sort of work out because of East's card under the ace that South was void in clubs at this point. Most people would probably continue with the Queen of Clubs, and that was okay. But East card helps West look at the defense a little better. Didn't matter on this hand. You had to lead a trump to beat this. Um, that is not an advisable lead. There are so many more hands where a trump is going to work out badly when we wanted to set up club tricks. Um, you don't get double dummy perfection when you're only looking at your hand. Do the best you can. Sometimes leads don't work out. All right.
Mike,
Next
can I
one.
ask a question about the bidding on that one?
Sure.
I was playing the hand with the seven spades,
Yeah.
and my logic when I went to three was also to tell that I had seven because that was a hand that if I had been able to open, I would have opened with three spades. Is there any,
It's
does that make any
it's not
sense?
quite the same thing.
Okay,
You're only promising six, although if you have six, they're going to be a really good six. Like King, Queen, Jack, sixth of spades is acceptable for a jump rebid. It's got to be a suit that you're willing to play opposite a singleton. So you're not promising seven.
okay,
And not like a three spade opener. Um, I think it shows six or more spades and about 10 to 12 points. That's what a jump rebid in your suit shows.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, not a problem. There are hands that you'd rebid, jump rebid, and you'd also open three spades, but there's the Venn diagram, the overlap is a little small. But there are some. Yeah, that's a hand I would open three spades as well. All right, we get to board seven. Okay, these ones are east-west ones. So on this one, South opens and they open one heart. Did I do that right? I did. West has a very nice hand, but it's not good enough to double and then bid your suit yet. It's 14. You can't add points for the diamond shortness yet. It might be valuable, it might not, but they certainly should overcall one spade. Not good enough to start with a double. Um, North is not quite there for a two heart call. If you did, okay, but I think North should pass. So let's evaluate the East hand. They have 10 high card points. The Jack of Hearts is probably not worth a point on offense, but the Singleton Heart is worth a couple of points. You've got a spade fit. So I think this evaluates to about 11 or 12 points. A jump to three opposite an overcall. Nowadays, almost everybody plays that as a weak bid. If you've got a hand that's stronger than a two spade bid, you start out by Q bidding the opponent's suit. Um, Standard nowadays is that shows a limit raise or better in 11, 11 plus points in support of partner's overcall. Put it that way. It doesn't say anything about the heart suit. The fact that we have heart shortness on this hand is just a pleasant little bonus. So I think this is a two heart call. Um, if you only bid two spades with the East hand, I think West should make a game try, but I think East is too strong just for two spades. South, these are sort of problem hands. It's certainly very attractive to bid three hearts. I think double should say, look, I've got really good hearts. In case you were tempted to lead something else, don't bother. Um, and you might be able to compete that way. I think double's about right. It's not quite strong enough for me to bid three hearts or three diamonds. But I like double. The other reason I really like double is if it goes like two spades pass pass, now I can bid three diamonds the next time, and I've really described my hand well to my partner. Um, this isn't the point of this hand. It was just this is what I like thinking about when I'm deciding how to compete with hands like South. But on this hand, I think whatever South does, double or three diamonds or three hearts, West knows they've got 14 points. They've got a sixth spade. That's great. They've got aces outside and partners showing 11 points in support. Whatever South does, I think West should bid four spades. They don't like the three small hearts, but that's pretty much the only downside of the hand. Okay, so given that, what do we lead? We lead partner suit unless we've been told otherwise. Again, we haven't raised here, so we lead the low from three small. If North did overbid a little bit and they bid two hearts over one spade, then they should lead the eight of hearts because they already promised three. But we haven't raised the suit, so we lead three from low from three in partner suit. All right, before we even play the trick one, let's look at losers. The West hand is the one with master trumps. So there we should count West losers, excuse me. West losers when considering it. They have no spade losers unless you get really unlucky. Certainly, we've all seen 4-0 splits come against us, but probably no spade losers. We have three heart losers, but those are ones we can probably rough with dummies trumps. We have one club loser and we have no diamond loser. So um, we have four losers, three hearts and a club, but we should be able to dispose of them fairly, a couple of the heart losers fairly easy. We've also got this queen jack of diamonds here. That's you've got lots of honors in diamonds. If we time this right, you should be able to make an over trick or two, but we got to be a little careful here. So let's have the defense. They win the queen of hearts at trick one. Not clear what South should do here. I like the 10 of clubs because if partner has the ace, we can get a rough. Even if partner doesn't have the ace, we're sort of threatening their ability to get back and forth. We don't know that West has a singleton diamond. I like shifting to the 10 of clubs at trick two. A trump would be my second choice. That's okay too. Um, let's have him shift to the 10 of clubs for now. So we want to be rough. We want to preserve. Where should we win this? Well, we want to rough hearts in dummy. We also sort of want to preserve the king of clubs as a late entry so we can fiddle around with diamonds a bit. So let's win the ace of clubs. We can rough a heart. That's going to be safe. Let's play a diamond to the ace. And we can roughen up. Oops, sorry. Didn't follow suit. And we can rough another heart. Now we're starting to get scared a little bit about the potential for them to over rough in on the fourth round of hearts if trumps were 3-3. But let's play the first round of spades. We don't know they're 2-2, so we can't afford to overtake that. And now the safe 100% safe line is let's rough a diamond and play the ace of spades. And we're going to lose. Okay, so this will draw the trump, and we're going to lose a club at the end. That'll make 5. You might want to tempt South by, excuse me, let me go back there. Given that we're going to, let's try playing the queen of diamonds. It's very tempting for South to cover this. And if they do, and you might decide to take this finesse anyway. This is a roughing finesse. You get two over tricks. Now we can rub same thing, but now after we've drawn the trump, we've got the king of clubs and the jack of diamonds for our two clubs in the West hand. So you should have made sure you did. The big thing on this one is to make the contract, you have to make sure you don't attack trumps too early. You're in a little bit of danger there. If you rough hearts, get back to your hand, you should make 5. If you wanted to risk it a little bit, you could make 6. There was a little bit of danger if you played the queen of diamonds and North win the king and gave their partner a club rough, then you'd only make 4. There's reasons why that's unlikely. It gives North a lot of high card that they don't have on the auction. So The big point is on this one is once again, you can't set up dummies high long suits because you don't really have the entries in the diamond. Let me get back so you can see the whole hand. Almost there. So after trick two, you don't really have the entries to set up the diamonds. The entries are in roughing hearts, and so we might as well just rough hearts ourselves. So this one, it's another sign that roughing with dummies trumps is going to be easier than trying to set up dummies side suit, in this case, diamonds. Hopefully you did get to four spades, though. It's a little trickier. I think if East West had an uninterrupted auction, it would be pretty easy to get to four spades, just like one spade, three spades, four spades. Competitive auctions are usually a little more difficult because because you're not sure what you're trying to do, mess with them, or you're trying to bid your own side constructively. Sometimes they overlap. The good news is you've got a Q bid in their suit you can use to show good hands at a low level with support in their suits. So that was it for that hand. Hopefully we all got to four spades, making some. I think four spades making five would be about what I would expect. If you did that, I think you did well. So
I have a question.
yeah,
Yeah, the double by south
of two hearts.
of two hearts, it's just a lead directing type double
Yeah, I
because
think, and it's sort of inviting. It's sort of inviting North to compete on like I if it put it this way. Let me go back to the whole hand. If if South didn't do anything, um, like if South said pass over two hearts, it's lead directing as well. But I think if West bid two, it just bid two spades. North should still be scared of bidding three hearts here,
mhm,
right? Even though
yeah,
they have three card heart support. They're
mhm,
forcing us to the
yeah,
three level where South has just opened one heart.
mhm,
Um, but if South doubles two hearts, sorry, and West bids two spades, now I think North should be a little more comfortable bidding three hearts. So it's sort of a twofold thing. Mostly it's directing helping partner make the lead. But it's also inviting North to compete more on if they're in question about whether they should bid or not. Maybe the double will help them out. The fact that I've got good hearts might encourage them to bid three hearts over two spades on this hand.
okay,
So I know I'm sort of being wishy-washy, but that's sort of what double is.
okay,
Mostly it's lead directing, but hopefully you were going to lead partner suit anyway. So
okay, mhm,
it just sort of confirms it.
thank you.
Could
Okay.
could you explain better East's two heart bid instead of a three spade invitational?
So normally, if it was just East-West bidding, you could play if you happen to play three spades as an invitational bid, um, then yes, this fits a three spade bid. But nowadays, in response to an overcall, because it's very likely to be a north-south hand or a competitive hand, East double jump raising is sort of a weakish bid nowadays. It's a hand with four trumps, and it depends on strength, but about 6 to 8 points. Um, it's usually one spade, three spades is a weak bid. So if that's the weak bid, you have to have some way to show the limit raise. Uncubiting their suit is how you do that. It's just the difference between responding to an overcall and responding to an opening bid. I agree with you that in responding to an opening bid, it's a three spade bid. But nowadays, responding to an overcall, it shows a weakish hand, sort of preemptive-y. Is that
Okay,
any
thank
good?
you. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks. All right. Last one coming up. Okay, so the last one was number 9. Auction. So I didn't plan it that way, but we happen to go to the same discussion. So pass and east opens one heart, south passes. The west hand is 11 points in high card. You can't count the jack of clubs as points and count a doubleton club, so it's 11 points. But that's a limit raise. Um, if you're not, if you're just playing standard American, and I think we're most of us are right now, three hearts is the standard bid here. So that shows about 10 to 12 points, three or more hearts. East hand, it's 14 high card. They're the reason that you want to you want to have any excuse to bid over this. The excuses that I have to bid here, it's 14 high card. You can count a point for the doubleton diamond. And you've got aces. Aces are sort of underrated in the point count. So if you're not sure whether to go or not, ace is good, queens and jacks bad. So this is for me a good 14. That's enough for me to go to four hearts. All right. And that should end the auction. All right,
Mike,
yeah. What can
what
I do for you?
about 2/1? One note.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that now. So in 2/1, I don't mind doing that. I don't know how common they're teaching 2/1, but in 2/1, three hearts is also a limit raise, but it promises four. If you do that, what you do with this hand is you bid one no trump forcing, pass. East bids two clubs because they have to bid, and this is their longest suit. Pass three hearts. That's how you would bid it in 2/1. You accomplish the same thing, but you distinguish between a limit raise with three hearts and a limit raise with four or more hearts. So I think the 2/1 auction would be this. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I bid two hearts instead of two clubs. I didn't think the clubs were good enough to bid, but
Yeah, two hearts over a forcing no trump. That I know the suit quality is very, very disparate, but two hearts absolutely promises six.
okay. Thank you.
So 2/1 or not, that one promises six. All right. But let's have East play be playing four hearts. The opening lead is oops, sorry, hang on, one more pass. All right. Opening lead, well, they've given us this nice four card sequence in spades. A jack of spades is nice. So, counting losers, nothing in hearts, nothing in spades, one diamond, and three clubs, because we're treating East as the master hand. This one is closer to trying to set up diamonds versus setting up clubs. The reason that diamonds becomes more attractive here is you've got these spade losers that they're not going to be sorry, spade winners in dummy that they're not going to be able to dislodge. So you're going to be able to get after, for argument's sake, setting up the diamond suit and drawing trumps, you'll be able to get to dummy with the king of spades late. The problems are that you're probably going to have to ruff two diamonds, and if trumps are 4-1, they're going to have more trumps than we do. That's almost always a bad thing. So if we're not going to go after diamonds, and I'll go through how the play would go if we went after diamonds, but if we're not going to go after diamonds, the alternative is roughing clubs in dummy. We've got to give up 2 rounds of clubs. So again, we don't want to touch trumps at all because we don't want to have the opponents have the ability to draw trumps on us. If we're going to rough in dummy, we probably want to preserve all the entries we can to our hand. So if our plan is to rough clubs, and I think it should be, we want to win trick one in dummy. It's not a big deal if we didn't. Now let's start our plan of giving up clubs. North should probably split here, just in case. If East had ace 10 of clubs, we risk giving up any club trick. North knows the partner doesn't have the ace of spades, so let's have them shift to a trump again. We keep on giving up clubs. And they go after trumps. Now our next step is going to be a ruff a club in dummy. So let's make sure we win this in our hand. And we ruff that. And now get back to our hand somehow. Ace of diamonds is probably safer, but it looks like they're both pretty safe. And you can see we're going to lose a diamond, and that's going to be it. So that's roughing the club in dummy is going to be a pretty easy way to make 10 tricks. If we're going to go after diamonds, yeah. All right, getting all the way back. Okay. If we're going to go after diamonds, again, we want to make sure that we have one spade entry to dummy late, but it doesn't really matter where we win trick one. So let's keep on going after the king of spades. You still don't want to try. You can't just draw trumps and then give up a diamond, because then the defense could cash 3 club tricks on you. But we can go after diamonds, give up 1 diamond. For argument's sake, let's have them play another trump. We can cross to the ace of hearts. Oh no, we can't do it, can we? Because we don't have enough trumps. Sorry. Forget it. This isn't. We had to win trick 1 in our hand, rather. We wanted to win trick 1 in our hand and go ace of diamonds, diamond. Sorry, guys, I just miscounted the entries. Now we're okay. Now we can ruff a diamond. And they can't overruff that, so it's safe. We can draw trumps ending in dummy. Okay, and now we can we only have 1 trump left, but that sets up the diamond, the 5th diamond. We've got the queen of spades and the jack of diamonds. That's the other line. But this one sort of depended on, first off, being careful with spades, which I wasn't because I only had 2 seconds to analyze it. It needed diamonds to be 4-2, which is pretty likely. And it also needed trumps to be 3-2. That's more likely than not, but 4-1 trump breaks are not that infrequent. They happen at about 1 in every 4 hands. So roughing a club was far better than trying to set up diamonds. If you did go after diamonds, you're okay. As long as you were more careful than I was, but you can make 10 tricks that way. But roughing a club is the quicker way to take 10. But again, the key is you can't even touch trumps before you start going after it. Most hands are like that. If you're going to rough something in dummy that doesn't have excess trumps, you have to make sure you don't touch trumps to prevent the opponents drawing trumps at you. I think that's the right preposition, or for you, and they'll stop you roughing that way. I gave 4 hands where it was always right to rough in dummy. There are ones where it's right to go after the side suit, dummy side suit, instead of trying to rough hands in dummy. Hopefully in future lessons, I'll show you some different ones where it's more likely like that. Let me, before I do anything else, let me post the lesson. There we go on that one. Okay. So that was it for the lesson hands. Sorry, I was thinking about board 7 a little more. This is the one where I said you should jump rebid spades. So a hand like King, Queen, Jack, empty 7th of spades. That's a 3-spade opening bid, but it's not a 3-spade rebid. If partner opened the bid, that's a 2-spade bid. So that's the kind of hand that is different than a 3-spade opener, but it's a three spade opener, but it's not a jump rebid. Those are the kind of hands that would be like that. Did I send that? All right. Having said that, are there any other hands where you would like me to go over bidding or play?
Yeah, I have a bidding question on, 8, whether that
8.
should be in slam or not.
Okay. I haven't looked at these boards, so I've just got to reset up the practice table. So give me 1 second to do that. Okay, now we'll always end up blowing by the board, so let's be careful this time.
It's like a couple folks did bid slam and make it. I guess I want to know how to get there.
Sure. Okay, it's sort of a tricky one. Okay. So good news is that it's an unopposed auction. Somebody's got to overbid. Okay. So, okay. Well, this might be doable. Okay, I can see a couple of ways. So certainly West is opening 1 spade. Pass. If you placed splinter bids, which is a double jump. So in this case, the splinter bid says, I've got an opening hand as well. I've got 4 card support for your one of a major bid, and I've got a singleton or void in the suit I'm splintering in. So if East bids 4 diamonds here, I don't like the fact that I'm splintering with a stiff king, but it's still 13 points. This might do it. If you bid 4 diamonds here, now these 4 diamonds are now 1 loser opposite partner singleton, assuming that we've got some other way to get rid of some of the other losers. So it's very attractive when you have low cards opposite the suit the partner is splintered in. Now it becomes more attractive to investigate slam. So even though this is only 12 points, I've got a singleton club. That's really big because partner has a singleton diamond. And I've got the ace of hearts. That's a big card. Queen of diamonds is probably wasted. It turns out it's not. It'll still take a trick because partner has the king. But I think that this one is worth a 4 heart cubid or even just blackwooding over 4 diamonds. I love the controls and shape that I have in hearts and clubs so much. And if they bid 4 hearts, this hand can cooperate and bid 5 clubs, showing the ace of clubs. And I think that that's enough for me. I would just bid 6 spades with this hand. That's, I think, how I would get there.
What about the Jacoby too now?
Yeah, Jacoby 2 is okay as well. That's if you don't like doing most of the time you promise a balanced hand with this, but I can understand choosing 2 because you don't like making your singleton with the king treated like a balanced hand. This shows a game forcing hand with 4 trumps, ostensibly a balanced hand, but you're gonna be the captain, so feel free to lie to your partner if you'd like. Pass. Sorry, pass. 3 clubs in the simple Jacoby, which I would recommend until years from now. 3 clubs says I have shortness in clubs. Now, for the same reason, the East hand becomes huge. Now the shortness in diamond when partners has a singleton club, we don't have any wasted cards in clubs, and we know we might be able to rough clubs to set them up. So when partner shows a singleton club, my hand becomes huge. I would at least bid 4 clubs to say I don't have the ace of diamonds, I don't have the ace of hearts, I do have the ace of clubs, and I'm interested in slam. Pass, 4 hearts, pass. And now I think I've had enough. I'll just blackwood to make sure we're off the right. We're not off two aces.
What about 3 diamonds show on a singleton?
This is a matter of style.
Okay.
Oh, you mean in the Jacoby auction?
Yeah, after the 3 clubs.
This is a matter of style. Some people cubid first round control and second round control. It's sort of known as the Italian way of cubidding. Um, but for most of us, the first thing that we learn is we cubid the first round control the first time. And if we didn't cubid it, we don't have the ace of that suit. So so it would be okay to bid 3 diamonds here, saying I've got a control in diamonds. But I think if I was just sitting down with somebody I'd never played with before, I would anticipate this being the ace of diamonds. Most of the control auction, good thing is most of the cube bidding auctions end up going through Blackwood anyway. So these days you're probably pretty safe making for second round cubids. Treat the first and second round cubids somewhat indiscriminately. And using Blackwood to make sure you're not off two aces. There was a very good partnership. That was their system. We'll cubid first and second round controls. As soon as we both show slam interest, we have to use Blackwood to, and we've got all the suits controlled. We have to use Blackwood to make sure that we're all not off two aces. That's but as I said, the first lessons you're going to learn are the first cubid show the ace, and I think that's a decent way of doing it. So sorry to be wishy-washy about it, but there are two methods out there. Showing the first cubid showing the ace is by far the more popular method.
Hey,
So
bridge
that's
is
the way.
kind of wishy-washy. Thanks, Mike.
If you got the 6 spades on these hands, well done.
No,
It's
not
sort
me,
of hard
but somebody else
in
did.
standard American after a spade past 2 clubs to get there. Somebody has to take some majestic leap somewhere. Jacoby 2 knows really nice for getting to those fitty kind of slams. Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will hope to see you next Tuesday. And I've already forgotten what the lecture is going to be. Hang on just a sec. Sorry. Come on, open up. Yeah. Come on. Okay, next one is bidding by a past hand. I'll hope to come up with a couple of things there. There is a misprint in the October, the November one. The lesson that it's listed as the 23rd of November. That should be the 13th of November. I'm trying to get that fixed up, but we'll get that. All right.
Hey, Mike.
But anyway,
Do you have
I
any
hope
of
to see
these-
you next Tuesday.
We got one
Enjoy
question for you,
Halloween.
one quick question.
Oh
Mike,
yeah, of course.
Do you have any of these? We're gonna be ineligible next month. Do you have any of these for under 100? Any with lesson?
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
This is going to be the same time each time. I mean, even if you didn't play in the game, it's always going to be about 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So
Okay.
even if you
Oh.
didn't play in it, you're certainly welcome to attend the
Oh.
lecture.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care. All right.